welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on Paramount Plus that loves to eat its breakfast with a side of gluten. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge All-Stars Season 3, Episode 6, and boy was this episode a good one. So let's start off where last episode left off, and that was Wes taking care of Yes, John A beating Beth in the elimination, everybody coming back to the challenge house, and everybody's just excited that Beth is out. Everybody's kicking up their feet. Everybody says that the vibe in the house is much better now that Beth is gone, but not everybody can relax. As we see from MJ, he is nervous. He knew that his name could have been called and that he could have gone into this week's elimination. So he knows that he's gonna have to try to pick it up, but his knee is hurting him. He's coming in as a previous winner, so there's a lot of pressure and a lot of stress on him. But the next day we see KellyAnne getting a phone call from her fiance. I know it says boyfriend, but she is now engaged, so they are fiancés to one another now, so congratulations to KellyAnne. And this is automatically a sign. If you have read into the edits for the challenge, you knew that something was going to happen with KellyAnne this episode. Either she was going to win into power, or she was going to go into elimination. And the way she stands in the house, I felt like she's going to go into the eliminations. But is that the case? No, it was not. But not to jump too far into the episode, let's go into a conversation that Brad is having with Derek and Mark at the breakfast table, and Brad cannot stand MJ. He just can't do it. He is thinking that MJ is lying about his knee. He's bluffing to stay out of eliminations. He'll say whatever he can to stay out of eliminations, and Brad even says, and quotes, that MJ is playing a scared game. Whoa, 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 Brad. I mean, that's funny coming from you, where last episode we saw you kind of quivering at the thought that MJ could call you out going into an elimination. So I don't think you're the person that should be harping on MJ for playing a quote-unquote scared game and doing all he can to stay out of eliminations, because I think of another player that did the exact same thing last episode. I'm not trying to make this subtle. I'm talking about Brad. But with all that being said, let's now move to the next day where everybody dons their challenge gear, heading out early morning to meet up with TJ at the beach for this week's daily challenge called Stacked. This is going to be a multi-phase purge challenge. There's going to be 3 phases in this daily challenge, and at every phase, more and more people will drop off until we have one person winning into the authority. In phase 1, everybody's gonna have to chip away at this board to find a 4-digit code to unlock a paddle and then grab a paddle board. There's only 5 paddle boards, so 2 people are gonna get purged after phase 1. Heading into phase 2 is the paddle board to get your puzzle pieces. Now there's 5 puzzle bags at this station. However, there's only 3 total puzzle stations on phase 3. So the top 3 players, the 3 quickest players who get to their stations first, will still be in the running to get into power, and then whoever constructs their puzzle tower first will win into the authority. The fastest man and woman to complete all phases will win into the authority, have the final sabotage in this game to hand out to anybody that they want next episode. So this is it. This is the final sabotage. You're fighting for power, you're fighting for safety, and you're fighting for the final sabotage heading into next week's episode and daily challenge. Now, speaking of sabotages, Mark and Sylvia both have a sabotage to hand out to anybody that they want to. Sylvia, in my opinion, I thought she was easily going to hand this over to KellyAnne. However, after hearing that there's a puzzle, Sylvia was like, this would be a waste to give to KellyAnne because we saw her have a puzzle and freak out about it in like episode 2. So instead, I'm gonna give it to somebody who is a strong competitor who aces puzzles almost every single time. So instead, Sylvia decides to hand her sabotage to John A. And let me tell you, John A is shocked by this. I think everybody is shocked by this. I think everybody thought that, oh, KellyAnne's gonna be the easy one to give it. Sylvia's already given her a sabotage. Nope, not the case. It's Mark's turn to hand out a sabotage, and Mark decides to ask anybody if they really want the sabotage. Anybody want it? And MJ decides to raise his hand and says, yeah, just give it to me. So Mark easily hands it to MJ. What the sabotage is for this daily challenge is that in phase 1, instead of just having one lock to unlock your paddle for your paddle boarding station, now you have 2. So once you find one code, you have to keep on scratching off at your board to find a second code. So it adds a level of difficulty, but it won't take you directly out of this game. We move on to the men's heat because the men are up first. And in phase 1, Derek is the first one to find his code and run over to the paddles and unlock his paddle and head out. Then we have Brad, Nehemiah, Wes, and then Jordan picks up the last paddleboard. So the first 2 purged on phase 1 was Mark and MJ. We move on to the second portion where, yes, Jordan was the 5th player, the last player to get his board, but he was able to easily paddle past Wes and Nehemiah, who were just enjoying a nice day out on the ocean together. They're best friends. They were just having a great old time, just having some buddy moments with each other. And it was a really funny edit. We get to the final puzzle station. There's 3 stations and it's between Brad, Derek, and Jordan. And Derek the whole time is yelling about how he is not good at puzzles. So honestly, it's a 2-man race between Jordan and Brad. And Brad, again, his mental game is incredible in these challenges. He was so fast at the math portion. Now he's so quick on this puzzle, he got it right away. And so Brad wins into the authority again. His 3rd time in first place, his 4th time in the authority overall. But now let's move over to the women's heat. And in phase 1, Nia gets her code the quickest out of everybody, I think. She is booking it to her paddle. She unlocks her paddle. She is running out to get on her paddle boat. Veronica is the second one to her paddle. However, she is putting in her code upside down and backwards because she is unable to get her code free. I mean, KellyAnne, John A, who has 2 locks, Kayla, and Ronnie all pass her, even though she was second to the paddles. Veronica and Sylvia are purged in phase 1. So the 5 women of Nia, KellyAnne, John A, Ronnie, and Kayla are all trying to paddleboard their way out there, but Nia is having a difficulty with this paddleboard. She does not have the balance. Kayla is also struggling. The only one that's not really struggling on this paddleboard is KellyAnne, who says that she has 3 paddleboards at home, that Sylvia was dumb for not putting the sabotage on me because this is what I do for fun. And KellyAnne was paddling laps around everybody as she easily gets to the puzzle pieces. She easily puts it on her paddleboard and she is just the first one at the puzzle station. It's incredible the way she was able to get to the puzzle station before anybody. And she was getting some help from her ex Wes, who looks to be wanting to play in this game. We haven't gotten too much conversations between KellyAnne and Wes, but you know that there is some familiarity there that they can work together. So it was fun to see them actually talking to one another because we have not seen it yet in this whole entire season. We're in episode 6. We have KellyAnne get into the puzzle station first, then we have Ronnie and John A, meaning that Kayla and Nia are purged. This is where the treehouse is shaking a little bit. They're really hoping that Ronnie can pull out this win because everybody else from their alliance has been knocked out of this game so far. And so we have KellyAnne who is doing the puzzle and she gets almost to the very end. She's trying to put the last piece up at the top over her puzzle, and then this big old gust of wind blows and knocks her tower down. This opens up the door for either John A or Ronnie, and Ronnie looks to be like she is right there. She is on the precipice of winning this thing. However, she has one piece at the bottom station that she completely overlooks, and it looks like that they really push everybody, the audience, to the back end to where they can't really talk or see everything that's going on at these puzzle pieces, and that really throws a wrench into the treehouse because Ronnie never looks down. She's like moving all these puzzles pieces at the top, these Lincoln logs at the top, and nothing is working, but she never looks down. She never looks straight down to see the missing piece. Ronnie is fidgeting with this puzzle over and over and over again, and KellyAnne, who had her whole puzzle knocked down, mind you, was able to recreate her whole puzzle. She did the puzzle twice before John A and Ronnie did it once. Absolutely incredible. KellyAnne wins into the authority, winning her safety, and now it's time for the game to be shuffled around. Now it's time for the pot to be stirred, drama to ensue, while the treehouse is freaking out about possibly going into elimination. It's a foregone conclusion that somebody in the treehouse is going into the elimination. It's just all a matter of who. Well, Sylvia decides to put her 2 cents into it because KellyAnne is excited to have won into the authority. Not just because she won her safety, but because she was able to have a massive comeback in this daily challenge after seeming that she was knocked down. Not only her puzzle, but she was knocked down. And she was able to keep her calm, her composure, and finish out this puzzle. And Sylvia said, well, if I ever celebrate like that, will somebody just shoot me in the face? You know who took offense to that? Naya. She didn't like that whatsoever. So coming back to the challenge house, that's when Naya told John A. and KellyAnne what Sylvia had said, and that puts a big old target on Sylvia's back. Which is really funny because we go from that scene to Sylvia having a phone call from home from her stepson, and they're talking about his schooling, and lo and behold, this puts into my mind that Sylvia is definitely going into the elimination this episode, and probably by the hands of KellyAnne, who's gonna vote her in. We move on to a birthday party where we have a joint birthday party. They're all having a good time. KellyAnne and Sylvia, after a while, move over to have a secret conversation with each other, and they're trying to work together. They're trying to get some information from each other. Sylvia's trying to push the Naya angle, anybody but the treehouse angle, but KellyAnne's like, that's not gonna happen. It's awkward. It's weird. Sylvia doesn't like KellyAnne. KellyAnne doesn't like Sylvia. It's like oil and water at this point. It's never going to work out between them. So we move on to the next day, the authority meeting, where Brad and KellyAnne decide that they're going to let each other have the sole vote on whoever they want to send in from their side. So Brad will have the sole decision on what man is going to go into the elimination, if KellyAnne can have the sole decision on who she wants to send into the elimination on the women's side. So they both agree. Brad picks MJ, KellyAnne picks Sylvia. No duh. And Sylvia takes major offense to this. She takes it very personally. She wants KellyAnne's head on a silver platter, and she tells the whole Treehouse Alliance that no matter what happens, take KellyAnne out by any means necessary. So with that being said, everybody gets their challenge gear on, moves to the arena to meet up with TJ for this week's elimination, where everybody walks in, they see these giant maze puzzle boards. So everybody knows right off the bat that this is going to be a puzzle-based challenge, not a physical-based challenge. So now everybody's gears are turning. Sylvia and MJ's, of course, are turning in their heads on who they're going to pick. Well, coming into this elimination, Sylvia was like, I'm gonna pick John A no matter what. If I'm gonna take a shot, why not take a shot at the top? However, once seeing that it is a puzzle board of some sort, that's when Sylvia, again, changes her mind. She switches at the last minute yet again. We saw this happening at the daily challenge, and it came to her demise. Now she's doing it here at the elimination, and the same results happen. Instead of picking John A, she's afraid of John A's puzzle skills, so she decides that she's going to take a shot at Naya. So Naya and Sylvia are going to go up in elimination against each other, and MJ picks Derek because he's not so strong at the puzzles either. So we move on to this week's elimination called Starstruck, which is everybody's going to be doing a vertical maze, and you have to free this golden star scepter and then use it to punch the ball into the mouse hole at the bottom of the maze puzzle. The first player that can sink their ball into the hole wins this elimination, stays in the game, and takes their opponent's stars. The women up first. Sylvia said that she picked Naya because Naya wasn't impressing her in these challenges. She wasn't doing a whole lot in the daily challenges or in this game, so she wanted to take a shot at Naya, which I can kind of see where she's coming from. Naya hasn't really done a whole lot in this game so far, but I think this is the momentum that she's going to take from here into the rest of this game, into the back half of this game, because Naya crushes this elimination. She is able to free out the star. Yes, she gets some help from Jordan, but she's still doing it. Then she takes the ball and knocks it into the hole in one shot. She is one shot Naya. She kills this elimination. Sylvia couldn't even get her pole out of her maze by the time Naya freed her scepter and knocked in her ball. Naya wins, gets Sylvia's star, and gets to stay in this game. Derek and MJ are up next. MJ completely flops in this elimination. Derek is able to free out his scepter, and he is not one shot. He has to take multiple shots. But even with taking like what looks to be between 6 to 15 shots to get this ball in this hole, and even with making divots and making it harder of a shot for him every time he had to run back and get his ball and then run back to the line, Derek was able to sink in this ball. The only thing that really irked me about Derek winning was how he celebrated. Oh my gosh, it was so over the top. I get that this probably was a huge weight lifted off of his shoulders to not only win a puzzle, but for what happened last season where he left early. in the game because of a semi-puzzle. It was like a physical semi-puzzle, and now he was able to win in this maze. But my goodness, how over the top can you be when you win an elimination? I mean, he's grabbing at MJ's shirt saying, "Give me those stars." He was making like a whole bunch of laps like he was a NASCAR, just yelling about how he has those stars. "Get off me, why'd you even call me down to elimination?" Over and over and over again. It was very cringy. I mean, if he wouldn't have knocked it down in one shot, I would have been like, okay, that was pretty impressive. But he had to do like 13 shots. MJ wasn't even close. It was really bad. It was a really bad performance by MJ. Congratulations to Derek and Nia for winning, getting the stars. Derek now has 4 stars on his jersey. He has the most stars in the game so far. But this is the end of the line for Sylvia and MJ. Now, Kayla, John A. don't have their number ones in the house. What could happen of them? What is going to happen to the Treehouse Alliance? How could this shake up the game? Well, we're going to have to wait and see what's going to come next week in episode 7. But that is it for this week's episode and review and recap. What'd you think about this episode? Let me know down in the comment section below. What'd you think about Sylvia switching her mind at the last minute at both the daily challenge on who to sabotage and the elimination? Do you think that was her downfall? Let me know down in the comment section below. And what do you think this means for KellyAnne? Do you think this is the rhythm? Do you think this is the end of the Treehouse as we know it? Let me know anything and everything down in the comment section below that you thought of this episode. I thought this was a fantastic episode. This was the episode that we needed at this point in the game. Thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to everyone who is watching this video up to this point. I really, really appreciate it. But I'll be back really, really soon with more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.